Welcome to Put's Parcel. My name is Lisa. Let's get dirty. Okay, well, I'm by myself again, taping. We'll see if this video turns out or not. But today, I went out to the garden. Let's take a quick pick at what's going on. We do. I got sweet potatoes, bachelor buttons. In this little pot here, I just planted some watermelons. My strawberries are coming along. They're just about done, I think. I have some flowers I haven't planted yet. Over yonder's a tomato in that white pot. Here's some more basils I just got to plant. I'm not sure what variety tomato that is, but hopefully it's one that doesn't get too large. Looks like the marker is gone. My bushel razzleberry, whatever they're called, raspberries made to grow in pots are starting to ripen. To keep an eye on those so I get those before the birds do. Here's a little pot, it's pepper, and then all across the front here everything is growing. I got to start staking up my patio tomatoes. Things are looking good. He's looking a little yellow. I just fertilized yesterday and used More Bloom, which the More Bloom has phosphorus in it, and all blooming plants need phosphorus to make their flowers and produce whatever it is they're going to produce. So it's great to put on tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, anything that you want to get more of. So this is very faded, but here is the More Bloom. I buy it in these big gallon jugs. I believe you put 1 ounce per 2.5 gallon watering jug, and I am using fish fertilizer. Here, I'll show that again, sorry, as my liquid fertilizer. I'm not using that full strength yet. I'm trying to flip my camera around. It's not working. There we go. Hello, me again. I'm not using it full strength yet on the plants that aren't completely established yet. I think that's 2 ounces per 2.5 gallon watering jug. So I'm just putting a little glug of each one of those in the same watering can at the same time. So fun times today. I weeded around the apple trees and around the blueberries, and then we put fresh straw down for mulch. I use easy straw. I'll show it to you. What did I just step on? I use easy straw. This stuff, it's great when you're spreading it. It might blow around a little bit, but once it's down, you can see like my apple tree is moving. Easy straw has tack. It'll blow around when you first lay it down, but then, like, we just finished this an hour ago. I went in to get a drink, made myself a grilled cheese sandwich at 2 o'clock in the afternoon for lunch, and it's not blowing around, and it's a pretty breezy day. So I just set these up. In my last video, I told you I'm a true believer in using the maximum amount of space that I have to grow things in. So the one in the back there, I just planted red curry squash. Doesn't look like I got all the seeds buried very well. Here is one of the seeds. They're pretty big. So I'm going to cover that a little better. I might have to get my horny out to make some more dirt. And on this one, I'm going to put spaghetti squash. No, sorry. On this one, I'm going to put Canadian crookneck squash. I don't know if these are big enough. These are varieties of squash I have not grown before. The red curry and the Canadian crookneck I have not grown before. And then I put another one back here in the blueberry bed. And on that one, I'm going to put spaghetti squash. Now, I've told you before, I get a lot of squash vine borers, and squash bugs. This Canadian crookneck squash is supposed to be pretty resistant to the squash vine borer. I don't know about the squash bugs. I have no idea what they're going to do with the red curry squash, and I know they will go after my spaghetti squash because they historically have, but I'm going to plant, going to see what happens. It'll be an experiment. So one of the fun things for me about gardening is you never know what you're going to get. Every year is different as far as, oops, I want to go back there. Oh. Trying to find where I left my hori-hori. I'm always losing it. Here we go. Hold on while I find my hori-hori. Alright, sorry about the shadow. I found my hori-hori. I'm always losing it, and of course it's brown, so it blends in with everything in the garden. So all I did for the red curry squash, and all I'm going to do for the crookneck squash, is find the dirt, make a little hole, and put 2 seeds in, and then I'm going to cover that back up. I'm just going to chop this up. We had rain a few days ago, but as you can see, things are pretty dry and hard. We're supposed to have rain again tomorrow, so hopefully we do. Aim up with my hands to open this, so give me a second. Alright, so I put 2 seeds in here, I covered it back up. I'm going to leave the straw pulled back. We're supposed to have rain tomorrow. I'll have to look and see how much we're supposed to get on the news tonight to decide whether I'm going to water tonight or not. And then I'm going to go to the opposite side, and I'm going to do the same thing. Pull the straw back, dig a little hole, put 2 seeds in, cover it back up, and leave the straw away for now. Once these germinate, I'll probably push the straw back up against the bottom of the plant to help keep the moisture in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I don't think you need to watch me do that. Alright, those are planted. I think my apple trees are going to be a flop this year. This is a dwarf apple crisp. I only have 1 limb flower this year. I had people tell me it was from over pruning, so maybe next year I won't prune at all. I did not prune the limbs that are there at all. I only removed some that I don't need or want. This is a Queen Cox self-fertile column apple tree. I've got nothing on it. And this one is called a Golden Centennial columnar apple tree, and it's got a ton of apples on it. It's also full of ants. I don't know what the ants are doing to my tree. I'm gonna have to treat that somehow because they are sucking the life juice out of the leaves and making them curl up. So I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do to get rid of the ants. I have a couple of blueberries starting to ripen. It's a little early. These 2 bigger bushes down here on the end are pretty much later producing. The second to last one here does have some, it's like a couple, maybe 2 or 3 ripe berries on. I did pick a couple earlier and eat them. I just planted this guy. He's a little sad. Here's some ranunculus in the front, a bachelor button, some marigolds. That one is called Crackerjack. I forget what the variety of this one is, but these are actually a special variety for that's edible to use for tea, I believe. There's another bachelor button. Here is some alyssum. And then this is another variety of marigold. Not sure what I planted, but I just planted that. Okay, and then here's this other cage. I'm going to put the spaghetti squash, plant the spaghetti squash around. I'm going to do the same thing on opposite sides. I'm going to move the straw back. I'm going to dig a little hole. I'm going to put 2 seeds in each hole, cover that over, and then leave the straw away from it. Give me a second to do that. Alright, so I finished the spaghetti squash. I want to pop in here and show you this beautiful red cabbage. Hope you can see it. I'm trying to get my shadow out of the way. But it is just gorgeous. The head is small, but look how big the leaves are. I think that is called a red rock mammoth. Over there, I think that's a Wakefield. Most of this is broccoli. I have started harvesting it. A little disappointed in a couple of the varieties I put out this year, not giving me much of anything. I just did take a couple of nice heads off. Here's another adorable cabbage. Not quite sure what variety that is. My markers are on the other side of this bed. I know, dumb me. Here is my sad and pathetic garlic. We're thinking that we had too much rain this spring, so that's why it looks bad. It shouldn't be in this terrible of shape yet. Generally, I don't harvest garlic until the beginning to the mid part of July. I plant hardneck garlic. Looks like the variety on the end here is called Music. And if you haven't seen yet, hardneck garlic puts off scapes. So this is a scape. It's actually a flower shoot coming up from the middle of the plant. And all plants' jobs are to reproduce. So this part here, where it gets a little bit bigger, is actually the seed head, or what will be the seed head. And if you are growing hardneck garlic and you would like nice big bulbs, you should remove these, because by removing them you are forcing, usually they pull that out a lot nicer than this. Mine have just been breaking off this year, but usually I can pull the whole thing out. But anyway, removing them forces the garlic plant itself to put more energy into developing the bulb. If you leave the scapes on, the energy is going into reproducing and making more garlic seeds. Garlic seeds from these flower heads that will develop. Alrighty, here's some of my onions. I have some that are starting to get to be a decent size. They're not anywhere near being harvestable yet. I am going to have to start picking hull peas, or shell peas, whatever you want to call them. Let me get in here. Most of this is cabbage and cauliflower. My chamomile here is going nutso. I did take some of that out. I'm going to have to take some more out. Chamomile is one of those plants where you plant it once, you never have to plant it again. I harvest the flowers because that's what makes the chamomile tea. I'll just usually run my hands through, pull a bunch off. If the stem parts are too long, I will break them off then. I just lay these in a coffee filter, put them on my kitchen counter, and when they're sufficiently dried, I'll put them in a plastic baggie, a mason jar, a plastic leftover container, whatever I want, and then I'll save those to make tea for the fall and winter. My next project for today is this old parsley from last year needs to come out. So that'll give me more space that I can plant. And I will push the compost back up. It kind of erodes from the rain and spreads out, so I'll push that back up. And all this spinach and lettuce that overwintered and is now getting ready to go to seed, I'm going to pull that out. And that will give me a little more planting space here. I think down here where the parsley is, I am going to put squash. Oh, there's a huge sunflower in there too. This guy, he's coming out. I think I'm going to put squash in here. I'm not sure what variety. It'll be summer squash. And it'll go under the cover, and hopefully I can keep the squash bugs and the squash vine borers out of there. I have had the squash bugs get in underneath this bug netting. What else? My telephone peas, my celery, my sugar peas or snow peas. Most people call them, where I live, we call them sugar peas. Those are golden snow peas. I've been picking the golden snow peas a lot. The celery is down here. It's not ready yet, but it's growing nicely. Here's my little pepper patch. 3, 6, 9. I have 12 peppers in there. The potato plants are taking over, man. They're not gigantic. I've had potato plants a lot taller than this, but they are just spreading out. I'm not sure what happened in here, if this was from wind or storm damage. I'm just trying to keep an eye on that and make sure I don't have to get in there and cover any potatoes up. I don't see anything sticking out. They are not ready to harvest yet. I don't harvest my potatoes until the plants are totally dried up. So I'll be a bit yet. Here's more chamomile. This is parsnip I planted last year. It did not produce, but made it through the winter, and now it is trying to go to seed. If you let parsnip go to seed, you have millions and millions and millions of parsnip seeds. Snap peas, here are the blush varieties. Let me see if I can find a nice one to show you that actually has the blush color to it. I think another variety of seed may have gotten mixed up in the package with them. Oh. Sorry, they're delicious. And here is the purple snap pea variety I planted. I don't remember what that's called, but it's in one of my previous videos if you want to know. Down here, I have teeny tiny baby dill coming up. I just threw those out last Saturday. Here is the last row of bush beans that I planted, or mini row. It's not a whole row. And these are dragon tongue bush beans. They're just coming up. These little guys are Kiku chrysanthemum melon. It's a small melon. It's not supposed to be a huge vine, so I just have it on one of my little pepper cages. I'm hoping that'll be sufficient. Not sure what's going on with my cucumbers this year, but I did buy this plant, and it's called Fanfare. Eggplant, one of them. Here's some. I got a cover on that. Here's some more. It's not. That's a weed. Some cucumbers. The third time I planted them, they're starting to germinate. Another eggplant, and this variety of cucumber is also I planted 3 times. It's just starting to come up. There's more bush beans. Some of my popcorn has finally germinated. I've planted that twice, but I can see I still have big gaps. Like I've been saying the last couple of videos, something's been getting into my garden, digging big holes. Don't know what it is, so I don't know if they're getting the seeds. I've also noticed that I have a huge ant problem in my garden this year. These guys are Thai soldier beans and a weed. This, my suspicion is some kind of cantaloupe, because I think I had cantaloupe planted here last year. These, I believe, are my Vortex beans, and in front of them I had planted red beets. Not too many of those germinated, so I'll be planting those again. And red beets you can plant up till probably the end of August, beginning of September in my zone, 7A, maybe even a little bit later depending on how your winter goes, because they can be out in the cold. They will germinate for me usually in warmer weather. I believe behind this panel I had planted some carrots. I don't see any of those coming up. There's some more sunflowers. Here's another look at my golden snow peas. This is a self-seeded sunflower from last year, so I'm not sure what variety I put in. Over here I planted another melon. I will have to look in my seed pack to tell you what kind it is. And in front of that I planted carrots, which have not germinated yet. I am trying to keep them wet. Like I said, right now it's really dry, even though it rained a couple of days ago. I have this space here, half of this, almost half, the middle 2/3 of this cattle panel that I can plant with something yet. My tomatoes are starting to grow. I put this cage around because whatever was getting in my garden and digging the holes, got rid of those wells I had made to help with watering, and pulled the tomato plant out that I had here, which was a Sweet 100, and I didn't plant any extra, so I actually had to go to the nursery and buy this one. Behind the tomato plants are more onions. Well, I'm sitting here editing this video and it looks like I forgot to do an ending, so thanks for joining me in Put's Parcel. Go get your hands dirty.